Hi everyone, today I'm going to go through the new YourDyno software. It's now called UnaVision. It's a major release that we have ready now after many months of development and testing. So I'm going to go through today all the new features. It's going to be a fairly long video, so you can bring the popcorn and have a look, or you can jump to the various sections in the links below the video. So the first thing you will notice is that there is no database in the system. So previously all the runs and all the sessions were just folders and files, and it could be a bit messy after a while. Now everything is stored in a database, and it's easy to search, to filter and to sort through the runs and the sessions. So we'll go through that in a little bit. We'll just fill up the database first. You can see there is one example run here, but in many cases you will be coming from an existing YourDyno installation, and in that case the first thing you'd like to do is to import all those existing runs into the database. So that's done like this. You go to File, Import, Sessions, and now you have to find that place on the hard drive where all your runs are stored. So for example, mine is stored here under runs. You can see a bunch of folders here. They're all runs, and these are all sessions with runs underneath them, right? So you can go up one if you have ordered it like that. Go to that one place where everything is below. You click that and you select the folder. You can select as many folders as you like, right? But in my case, everything is below the runs, so we'll just go and import that folder. So we select import. Okay, so now as you can see, I have 241 sessions, and each one has a bunch of runs, and it's now going to go through those and import them. You can see they are starting to come here, and it will go through, you know, max power, max torque, and you know, some conditions, and fill up the database with those runs. So we'll at this point go and have a cup of coffee, and we'll come back in a few minutes. Okay, just checking in after a few minutes here, and it's still running, so we'll let it finish before we come back. Okay, the import has finished. We can now look at all the sessions that we have here, and we can look you know, into each one of them, look at the different runs that we have in each of the sessions, and you know, sort on power. We can sort on when it was done. We can do filters. Let me show you. There is a global filter here. So let's say you want to search for, let's say, the word BMW. Now you find all the sessions that has BMW somewhere, either in the session name or down inside the in the session in some name. It could also be if there is any mention of BMW in the comments or any other field, right? There's another little trick when it comes to filtering. So you can filter on individual columns by clicking this small little icon that comes up when your mouse is close to the right side of the column, like that. For example, here you can type in anything, right? And then just search for those particular ones that you select here. Same is for, let's say, here the column for date. You can click here, and up comes a date selector. So you can do, you know, search for whatever you like, different years, different dates, etc. Okay, pretty easy. If you have a filter and you have forgotten where it is, you can take a look down here. So you can just turn it on and off like that, or just delete it by the red cross. All right. And next on the database is the different columns that we have here. So there are some predefined ones. You can decide which one you want to turn on and off by right-clicking and say select visible parameters. So here are some predefined ones that you can, you know, turn on and off like that. And you can also create your own. Let's say you want your own parameter that's not a predefined one. Let's say bore and orange stroke, so then you can type in whatever you like here. And these are also multi-line, so you can have like that, right, etc. So you fill that out as you like, and then inside each one you can as well have different fields or different columns here. Again, of course, comments, but also some that are filled out automatically by the run itself. And then you can add your from the predefined list, whatever you like here. If you don't find it in the predefined list, you add your own custom parameter, whatever. Something like that, right? And you would put something in there as you like. Okay, now we know how to navigate the database. Let's see how we can load runs that are already done. Okay, so let's do, for example, this one. So to load a run, you just click here on open, right? And they pop up under here. And you can look at the graphs and the tables just like you are used to from before. And to unload, you can either click here or you can click on the cross here, and they will sort of go back into the database again. You make sessions active if you want to continue with an old session by just clicking here. Now if you do a new run, it will be placed under this particular session here, or you can select any session like that. Next on the list now is to configure the settings for your particular dyno. So if you have an existing YourDyno installation, you do a backup options to file on that existing installation or the old software, and then you go here, options, and it's here on the top, restore options from file, and it will read back your configuration and set this new software up like it was on your old system. Now if you have a fresh installation here, you can select the type of dyno that you got from this list here. You can see a lot of different types: inertia, chassis brake, hub, water brake, different types of water brakes, cart, dyno, PTO, etc. So as an example, you can do this chassis dyno single brake, let's say, and you click load default configuration for this dyno type. If you do that, now it's all the standard settings for that dyno has been set up. For example, you have one RPM sensor, there is a single load cell here, you have one frequency sensor set as RPM, the brake is set up with YourDyno eddy brake. You can also even look at the run window, and it has set up some default gauges here. If you go to the brake setup, it assumes you will do power sweep. There is some default PID settings, etc, etc. Right, so it should get you going pretty quickly by just selecting the dyno type here. Similarly, right, if you have a water brake, let's say you have a superflow water brake, you do a load there. Now it has set up the RPM with that particular RPM trigger wheel, the zero position for the valve, there is the brake is now set to be the superflow valve. All the brake settings in the run window is set up to a typical sweep for the superflow, etc, etc. So it should give you a very quick starting point for your particular dyno setup. Okay, so that's pretty useful. One other point to note here is that we now have what's called profiles. So I have created two here. You can have as many as you like. And the point there is that if you have, let's say, different types of engines that you are testing, or different cars or different motorbikes, you can save the settings for that particular profile. So that could be things like gear ratio, moment of inertia, so, for example, start and stop RPM for the sweeps, anything you like. You save that as a profile, and then next time when you want to load that profile, you can just select it here and click load. The other way to do it is when you want to do a new session. Let's say you have a new engine on the dyno or a new car, you call it something. And here you can select either to continue with the current settings or whatever settings you have in that profile. Also interesting, if you, let's say you choose a profile, if you now click create, it will ask you, do you want to only load the vehicle or engine dependent settings, or do you want to load all the settings? So all settings will do everything, even the channel definition and let's say the console layout, all these things, while the engine dependent settings will only do typically those things that are dependent on the engine itself or the car itself. So we can do that. Yeah, now it has a different, that profile had a different unit selection, so that's why it asks me to restart YourDyno. So now the settings are done and we have created a new session, but where is it? Right, okay, so you could sort on when it was created, but there is an easier way, and that's to just click here, show active sessions only. So right, you don't really want to see all this stuff, right, when you are working on an engine. That's more like when you are searching for some old stuff or looking at some old data. Normally you just click this show active session only, so here it is, and you can now continue working on that. So let's do a new run. So that's a run, new run, just as before, and here it looks fairly similar to before, but there are some changes here in the brake setup. So you should read what's happening from top to bottom. So here on the top you set up how the brake shall ramp up before the run starts. So that's important to preload the engine so you don't have a big overshoot. That's done here. Then what we have here is the brake control during the run itself. And then if you have the brake on after the run, that's set up here. So, as you may remember, there used to be a lot of different brake modes here. But now, since this is configured as a water brake, by default we only have load control and manual. So manual is where you lock the RPM, right? And load control is the typical sweep controller that we use for water brakes. You can turn on the other modes as well, right? They are all here if you want. But typically people get confused about all these different modes. There are too many of them, so just use load control if that's what you do. You don't even need manual if you don't do steady state, right? Then you can turn it off. You can also just right click and hide. So now you can see there is only one brake mode configured, and so it's the same every time, very simple. That's similar, of course, if you use a chassis or hub dyno, by default it's set up to use power sweep. The configuration itself is the same here, almost the same, a little bit improved, but very similar. On the power sweep and those other PID settings, there are some slight changes. If you look at power sweep, for example, the PID is here. So that's, you click here to set the usual PID numbers. Otherwise, same as before. So yeah. That's a little bit easier to navigate than what it used to be. I will turn on the simulator so we can do a run here. Okay, so that's just a frequency generator that is creating a run. Okay, so let's start a run, and it's finished here. Okay, now let's take a look at something else. The run now, of course, appeared here in the database, and you can look at it as usual. Okay, but there are two new icons here that you have not seen before. One is the rerun option, and the other one is the options. Okay, so the thing now is that all the settings that was done for this run are now stored in the run. So if you ever wondered how, what kind of settings you had when you did a particular run, you can actually get it back now. And the trick is just to click here, and you can now load the selected options, and again you can load either the vehicle dependent settings only or engine dependent settings, or you can read all of them. Okay, so that's good. You can also do a rerun, so let's do it now. Now we rerun the same exact data, we run it through the current settings. Now of course we get the same result, right, because we haven't done any changes, but let's do that. So let's say, okay, I'm gonna just kill that. Let's say we change, let's say the moment of inertia, right? Let's say it's not 1 but it's 2. And now we can rerun again. And you see, of course, we have much more power. So here are the two different results with the same raw data and the same settings, except for that one little change that we did. You can also note that now, that was different from before, now you can also look at the brake settings and other settings, for example data coming from the CAN bus, things like that. They are all preserved when you do the rerun. So that's another improvement from earlier. And just to show you then, let's say you come back later and you click here, load options, and I want to just load the engine dependent settings. Okay, let's do that. Options loaded. Now we can rerun it again, and you see we're back to where we were. So that's pretty useful. Next thing I wanted to show you is some improvement to the style and colors of the graphs. So you can see here there is a new column called style. So now you can say that each run has its own style. Okay, so now it's very easy to see which graphs belong to which run. In addition to that, you can go to options and then visual styles, and now you can set the color of each channel. So let's say you want to say that engine power is, let's say, this color, and torque is, let's say, this color. Now it's of course very easy to see that these two are the same channel, it's just from different runs, right? So with this style per run, we don't really need any more different colors per run. We use style instead to differentiate between the runs. And to turn this changing Y2 and Y1 color off, we go here to the same place, visual styles, and we say we now want it fixed. So this means that for every channel that it has not gotten a specific value here on its color, it will get this color here, blue in this case for the Y1 or left axis, and red on the Y2 axis or right axis. Of course you can change it to whatever, right? That makes it a little bit simpler, and you can actually now turn off, you do it like that, you can turn off those columns, because we are not anymore using colors to differentiate runs, we are using the style. Okay, I think that's it for now. The software is available on our homepage. It's a free upgrade for everybody. I hope you like it.